Hello student, hope you all are safe and happy. Today we are going to see about the topic quadrilateral. So some basic concept first of all we will go. So first basic concept is that if 4 points are collinear, then we get a line segment. Yes, you people are knowing everything about it. When we see that if 3 out of 4 points are collinear, then we get a triangle. So here in this figure, 3 are the collinear points. Collinear means all the points which lie on the one line. So, and here the fourth point is out of that line. So if you join it in order, you are getting a triangle. If four non-collinear points, if you join in sequential order, you get a one closed figure with the four sides. That figure is called as a quadrilateral. So quadrilateral is a closed figure by joining the 4 points. So quadrilateral, quad means four and lateral means sides. That's why it is the defined as a closed figure bounded by four sides. When we see about the elements of the quadrilateral or constituents of quadrilateral, a quadrilateral has four sides, four angles and four vertices. If we see in this figure, four sides means AB, BC, CD and AD. When we see about the vertices, A, B, C and D are the vertices of this figure. Then if we see the angles of this figure, angle A, angle B, angle C, angle D are the angles of quadrilateral. Diagonals are also the part of a quadrilateral. When you join opposite vertices, you are getting a diagonal. Here, A and C, if you join it, AC is the one diagonal and BD is the another diagonal. So, quadrilateral having two diagonals. Opposite sides in this figure, the opposite sides are AB, opposite side is CD, and AD's opposite side is BC. So, these are the opposite sides of quadrilateral. Now consecutive angles. When we say about the consecutive means adjacents which are near to each other having the one common arm. So here between angle A and B having the common arm AB, therefore these are the consecutive angles. Now A and C are not having any common arm, so these are called as the opposite angles. So B's consecutive angle is C, C's consecutive angle is D as well as B, and D's consecutive angles are A and C. So here in a parallelogram, when we see these are the properties are applicable to the some consecutive angles for the opposite angles. So for that, you should know which angles are called as a consecutive angles, which angles are the opposite angles, which are the opposite sides, so that you will come to know the which properties applicable for every type of the quadrilateral. Let us see the next content is that opposite angles. Opposite angles, as we discuss it, opposite angles are not having a common arm. They are standing front of each other. That is A, opposite angle is C and B's opposite angle is D. Okay, so next type of the quadrilaterals are, now we are going to see the types of quadrilateral. So first type of quadrilateral is a parallelogram. When we use the parallelogram word, parallels, the meaning is only itself telling you the definition where the opposite sides are parallel. In a quadrilateral, if the opposite two sides are pairs are parallel, then it is called as a parallelogram. So in this figure, AB parallel to DC and BC parallel to AD. Even some of the properties are applicable in parallelogram. So opposite sides are equal, then opposite angles are equal, and consecutive angles are supplementary. So when we say consecutive angles, A, angle A plus angle B 180 degree, angle B plus angle C 180 degree, angle C plus angle D 180 degree, and angle A plus angle D 180 degree. So consecutive angles of a parallelograms are supplementary, and diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other, means AC and BD bisects each other, means dividing into equal part. So next type of the quadrilateral we are going to see here in the next part, that is a rhombus. So rhombus is a parallelogram whose all the sides are equal. So means all the parallelogram's properties are applicable to rhombus. Means opposite sides are equal, opposite sides are parallel, opposite angles are equal, then diagonals bisect each other, consecutive angles are supplementary. One more special property is that all sides are equal. And again, additional is that diagonals are perpendicular bisector in a rhombus. Means when they intersect each other, means when AC intersect BD, 90-degree angle is formed. That's why it is called as they are perpendicular to each other. Now, next type is that a rectangle. A rectangle is a parallelogram whose each angle is a 90-degree. As I have shared in the rhombus, that all properties are applicable in rhombus of the parallelogram. Same way in the rectangle, all the properties of the parallelogram applicable in a rectangle, along with special property is that all angles are 90-degree, means they are congruent, and diagonals are equal. Congruent means AC equal to BD. This you can prove by a congruency part, that is SAS. Congruency test, you can prove that diagonal AC is equal to diagonal BD. Okay. Next type is a square. A square is a parallelogram in which a rectangle in which a pair of adjacent sides are equal, then it is called as a square. Means again the rectangles, in that if you add one more special property, that is all sides are equal, then that rectangle become a square. So in this figure, all sides are equal, PQ, QR, SR and PS. That is, then all angles are 90-degree. Therefore, it is a square. Even diagonals are equal, as the rectangles diagonals are equal, therefore squares diagonals are equal. Even square is a rhombus, so rhombus diagonals are perpendicular bisector, therefore squares diagonals are also perpendicular bisector. So each square is rhombus, each square is rectangle, each square is a parallelogram, but each parallelogram is not a square. Each parallelogram is not a rectangle. Each parallelogram is not a rhombus, but each rhombus is parallelogram. Each rectangle is a parallelogram. Are you getting, everyone? So this important points you have to keep in your mind, because this type of questions are coming in the MCQ. Okay, let us see the next type of the quadrilateral is a trapezium. A trapezium is a quadrilateral in which exactly one pair of opposite side is a parallel. That's why it is called as a trapezium. If we see in this figure, AD is parallel to BC. When we say it's a parallel, when you extend those segments, they are not meeting each other. The distance between those two lines remains same. That's why it is called as parallel. In trapezium, if non-parallel side means AB and DC, if they are equal, then that trapezium is called as isosceles trapezium. In isosceles trapezium, B's angles are equal. As you know that in the isosceles triangle, if the two sides are equal in the isosceles triangle, when we say, then opposite angles are also equal of that equal side. Same way in the trapezium, if AB equal to DC, then opposite to AB angle C and opposite to CD angle B, both are equal. Okay. Now next type of the quadrilateral is kite. A quadrilateral in which two pairs of adjacent sides are equal, then that figure is called as a kite. If we see in this figure, adjacent side PQ equal to PS and QR equal to SR. And the diagonal of the kite are perpendicular. They are only perpendicular. They are not bisector of each other. Okay. Now we are going to see the next type property of a quadrilateral is that where you are using maximum time this property to find the angle measurement. So theorem is that the sum of angles of quadrilateral is 360 degree. Now here in this figure, ABCD is a quadrilateral. And if you have to prove that how the angle sum is a 360 degree, we are using construction. So as you know that the angle sum property of a triangle, with the help of this previous knowledge, you're going to prove that angle sum property of a quadrilateral is 360 degree. Now in this figure, you're going to show the angle A plus angle B plus angle C plus D equal to 360 degree. Okay, for that case, we are going to do the construction that join AC. So that because of a diagonal, the triangles 2 are formed in a quadrilateral. So now take each one triangle in triangle ABC by angle sum property, angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 equal to 180 degree. Mark it as equation 1. Then take the another triangle ADC by angle sum property, angle 4 plus angle 5 plus angle 6 equal to 180 degree. Mark it as equation 2. Add both the equations, add 1 and 2. Left side part will be added in the left and right side of the equal to part will be added in right side. So angle 1 plus 2 plus 3 angle 3 plus angle 4 plus angle 5 plus angle 6 equal to 180 degree plus 180 degree. So right side answer will get it 360 degree. And when we say and see in the figure angle 3 plus angle 4 is angle C and angle 2 plus angle 5 is angle E. Therefore, sum of all angles of a quadrilateral is 360 degree. Hence, it is a proved. Now, one of the very important theorem in this quadrilateral is midpoint theorem. Actually, the midpoint theorem is related to the triangle, but the application of the theorem is used in the quadrilateral. Therefore, this theorem is involved in the quadrilateral topic. Let us see what is a theorem. The line segment joining the midpoints of any two sides of a triangle is parallel to third side and equal to half of it. Okay. Just I will explain this with the help of figure. Now here in this figure, triangle ABC, M and N are the midpoints of triangle ABC. As per the theorem, if MN segment joining the two midpoint, then this MN segment is parallel to BC and half of BC. Now this type of triangle, any kind of triangle you can take, this is applicable for any kind of triangle. It's not that special equilateral triangle is required or isosceles or a scalar. This theorem is applicable for any kind of triangle. Let us see how we can prove that MN parallel to BC and MN is half of BC. For this case, we need to do construction. Okay, so construction is that M1 segment to be extended till E such that MB is parallel to EC. Now see the next figure. Here MB is parallel to EC. We have extended MN segment till E. Now we have to prove that MN parallel to BC. It's meaning that you have to show that MECB is a parallelogram and N is the midpoint of ME. So that further you can show that MN is parallel to BC as opposite sides are parallel in the parallelogram, and as N is the midpoint, ME is equal to BC. Therefore, 2MN is equal to BC. Therefore, MN is equal to half of BC. So let us see how we are going to prove this. So we need to take this two triangle AMC and ECN. So in this two triangle, angle MAN is congruent to ECN as the AB parallel to CE, and these two angles are alternate interior angles. Therefore, they are congruent. Okay, this is the one part we got it of the congruence. Then if we see AN is equal to CN as the N is the midpoint of AC. That is a given. Now next, angle MNA, this angle is equal to angle ENA, vertically opposite angles. So therefore, by ASA angle, triangle AMN is congruent to triangle CEN. So we have proved that these two triangles are congruent. Once we prove that the triangles are congruent, then their corresponding parts are also equal. So therefore, AM equal to CE and MN equal to EN. So here we have proved N is the midpoint of ME and M is equal to CE. But M is the midpoint of AB is a given. Therefore, AM is equal to BM. But AM is equal to CE, you have proved it right now by CPCT. Therefore, AM is equal to BM is equal to CE. That is mean by BM is equal to CE. Then the BM parallel to CE, you have done the construction. For in that case, you have shown that BM parallel to CE. Then BM equal to CE. Right now you have proved it. Therefore, in a parallelogram, if one pair is equal and parallel, then that figure becomes a parallelogram. Therefore, BMEC is a parallelogram. So once you show that it's a parallelogram, opposite sides are equal. So another pair is also equal, that is ME equal to BC and ME parallel to BC. So ME parallel to BC means the part of ME is also parallel, that is MN parallel to BC. And ME equal to BC, so ME means you have proved that N is the midpoint of ME in the CPCT. So you can write it as a 2MN equal to BC. Therefore, MN equal to half of BC. Hence, you have proved this MN is parallel to BC and MN is half of BC. So this theorem mostly you are applying in exercise 8.2, 4 marks maximum time the question come on the basis of midpoint theorem. Hope you all understood all the main points of the quadrilateral. Thank you.